Hey guys, Crowny here, and this is the middle of the patch, and I'll be doing an update on the tier list. So I guess the first one I would put is Kalista is still D tier. I think it's just not worth playing. With crit being so strong and the champion being so easy to kill by everything, I just feel like the amount you need to invest into actually carrying with the champ is not worth all the effort. So for sure I will be putting her D just as before. I would put Mel D tier as well. I think this one is pretty controversial, but I think the champion's win rate is still way too low. She's way too nerfed. Her W is like 35-second cooldown. It's just not worth the effort to play compared to all the other mages. After that, I think I would put Zeri C. I think she's just too slow. She doesn't really carry games that easily. But in lower elo she's okay because, she has wave clear, and eventually if it goes to late game, you will be decently useful. For me, Ashe is S tier. Doesn't really move much from before. Is super strong with Hex Optics first, still scales really well even though she does 10% AD ratio on Q, works with range supports, works with melee supports, has utility, can carry. Obviously her only weakness is if enemy drafts like Nocturne or Yana or something, you're not really gonna have a fun time, but against anything that's not that, I think you're really strong. Then the next one, Z tier. I would say Senna is now Z tier. You can go Doran's Helm in hard matchups. It doesn't matter that they changed their fire touch to magic damage to not proc her black cleaver, because Senna already procced 2 stacks of cleaver with 1 auto attack, so with Q she gets free, and the magic damage helps because people have less MR early game. I made a post about Kog'Maw with Doran's Helm, but the same applies to Senna. If you build Doran's Helm in hard lanes and just play for your souls, you are so broken. It works with melee supports, range supports, everything. The champion has too much utility. Shiv is perfect for her, gives her AP, AD, wave clear, movement speed. Black Cleaver makes her tanky. If you really need damage, instead of Black Cleaver, just build Last Whisper or Hex Optics into Last Whisper. You fucking one-shot people. The champion is turbo overpowered. She was second win rate after Smolder last patch. Now she's the highest win rate AD carry in the game. Just fucking abuse it, okay? I will be making a Senna guide soon, but it is extremely overpowered. Doran's Helm, Jack of all trades, Deathfire Touch, Celerity, boom. You can get 10 Jack of all trades stacks with a Fairy Charm before you buy crit. GG. Jinx, still S tier I would say, just as I put her before. I don't think much changes. There's a little bit of less enchanters, a bit more melee supports. I don't think that changes much for her. She kinda works with both. Hex Optics is a broken item. In Sorky you'll always get kills, you can always pop off. Yeah, nothing really changed in my opinion. Aphelios, still fucking D tier. Too slow, doesn't have the same carry potential as the other champs, doesn't deal as much damage as he used to, his ult doesn't one-shot. You can essentially only play into half of the team comps with sniper rifle. Other weapons are kinda meh. He's not the love child of Riot, that's Jinx. She will be left broken for 10 years. Have to wait for Aphelios buffs. They nerfed his AD per level and his lethality per level twice. He lost 1k in stats or something. It's just miserable to play. Just don't play him. Yasuo, I will say A if you're really good at it. It beats a lot of the mages and it beats essentially every AD carry in lane. The only problem is that it's depends on your skill in lane. But the champion is very, very strong and doesn't really have many counters. Biggest counter is how to play team fights, because he kind of gets one shot. But if you're really good at him, you essentially dominate every bot lane. Nyla, I will put C tier. I think the champion just isn't that good. It's very niche, it needs to be counter pick, can't really be blinded into many of the these matchups, you're just letting them scale for free, or you just get kited in team fights. It loses heart to every single mage. It's good with some enchanters like Yumi or some all-in lanes, but I just feel like there's better champs, in my opinion at least. Mage like Cassio, I will put B tier. I think it's good into low range AD carries, but if you see all the higher tier AD carries that I put right now are high range, so I feel like it's also a bit hard to carry teamfights when you're lower level on Cassio, because you kind of get one shot by everything, so it's better to play her mid and top. But in some matchups with melee supports, you can really kill people around level 3, 4, 5 when you hit poison on people. With Deathfire Touch, your lane phase is very, very strong. I just feel like it's hard to 1v9 games. Mages like Vladimir and Ziggs, I would also put B tier. Brand, A tier, just super OP, too much utility, a lot of wave clear, can kinda play with melee supports, range supports, fixes a lot of team comp problems in solo queue because he has percentage HP magic damage. So if your team picks triple AP, boom, you pick Brand, and he's gonna burn alive. so very powerful in that case. The next one, Vayne. In my previous series it was A, now I would probably put it B tier. I kind of misjudged it. I think 3 champs are just easier to play, but in the correct spots she can have a lot of value into like a lot of melee team comps where she can fight early and win lane. Again, the better build is Kraken or Trinity, not Guinso, but both can work. I just think Kraken Trinity is better early and better at killing squishes, and you can just go LDR third. The champion is way more heavy physical damage than people think. Kai'Sa, Shiv got 5 damage buff this patch, but it still doesn't really fix her issues. And as I said, there's like more melee support meta now than before, but she still just loses lane to a lot of things, and I just feel like her ultimate is too high of a cooldown to perma-fight. It's like 2 minutes compared to Zeri, like ult being 80 seconds. It's like quite a big difference in solo queue. Of course, some people fix that by going Fiend Hunter, but you can't really go on hit every game. I would put her like low B tier. I don't think she's as bad as Sivir or something. I would not put her into like high B or A. I think you have to be really good on her to carry games, and it feels like she doesn't really scale that well at like 4, 5, 6 items compared to other like, you know, crit AD carries and stuff like that. So I'll put her around lower B tier. Lucian. I put Lucian A tier. And I still think some games he feels amazing, where you can like dash aggressively and win lane, but some games you win lane and you just still can't do anything, and it feels just completely miserable to play. So I think I will bump him down a tier. I think I overestimated him for sure. You definitely need to snowball to have a lot of impact on the champion, which is not possible every game, but some matchups he's really strong in with like a Lucian Milio. Also keep in mind Nami got nerfed, and she lost like 3% win rate, and Mandate is trash now. So Lucian loses a lot of damage, and so does Corki, right, comparatively, so they both get kind of hurt by that. Corki is C tier. I don't really want to spend too much time on him. As I said, Nami got nerfed before he was already kind of low tier. Can work situationally, I just feel like it doesn't scale as good as other champs, so you have to really stomp lane, which isn't really reliable, especially in lower elos. So I would just suggest to play other like longer range, better scaling AD carries. Tristana, she's also getting buffed next patch. As you guys will see this video, next patch she'll get like 0.5 AD per level and some mana cost reductions. I think that will bump her into like higher A tier, especially now that there is more melee supports. I feel like Tristana struggles if she can't all in lane, and if she just gets poked down, and also into like killing tanks. So some games it just feels like you don't have damage. I think it's also because people love fucking building Navori on her instead of just going like Last Whisper. Like, you guys need to keep in mind, Tristana has pure physical damage, like 90%, and no percentage HP or armor pen in her kit. So in my opinion, Tristana needs Last Whisper at 3 items no matter what, like 80% of the games, which is a core mistake I think people are doing. But I think if you get that, you're actually pretty strong. She just kind of becomes a bit weirdly weak at like 2 items. Even if you snowball lane, you're kind of weak, but then later you get your passive, you become fucking OP 4, 5, 6 items. But she's like very weak mid game. So I think the buffs will help her. So maybe I put her B. Twitch, I would put C tier, like you can play AP or AD. I don't think it's the worst champ in the game. It just feels like it doesn't deal, it's kind of similar to Aphelios. It doesn't deal enough damage for how easy it is to kill you. The best build is like Collector and PTA and just playing like an assassin and ganking people, which will always work, but he isn't this like teamfight 1v5 Rat space gliding champion that he was, you know. Xayah, I would just put her C tier. I don't think she's anything special. I think Zeri is better into melee team comps. Her ultimate is just way too high of a cooldown, like 2 minutes. She can't buy CDR because Essence River is a trash item. And you can, but it's just bad. People see her as this mobile champ, but she's not really mobile. She's only like safe because of her ultimate. She doesn't deal as much damage as she used to. Her feather used to literally 2-shot you. Now they're just kind of meh. I just think the champ kind of obsolete. Loses to literally every high range champion. Loses to every mage. There's not that much Rakan anymore. Obviously Rakan will be played more now because they buffed melee supports, and probably Rakan will be played more in competitive, where I think it is pretty good situationally, but I think solo queue is just too fast paced for Xayah. She doesn't really have any movement speed outside of fights, so she's kind of slow on the map. She's, you know, just meh. Obviously there is some team comps where she can 1v9 into full melee, but then Zeri, she's one of the better AD carries on the patch, I would say. into hard matchups, you can do Doran's Helm. I'm going to be releasing a Zeri guide. The best runes are Conqueror and Alacrity with Resolve secondary. And Doran's Helm makes you completely fucking tanky. She works with enchanters. She works with melee supports. She can start any of the Doran's items. She has E to go back to lane fast. She can completely clean up team fights. It's just really good, I think. I think she's just the new Yunara, you know, because before Yunara was like the better Zeri, but now it kind of flipped again. So I would suggest you guys play it with the build I suggested, but as I said, I'll be releasing a guide or I'll be talking about her items, but play Conquer and Legend Alacrity with scaling HP into a hard matchup. Boom, you go Doran's Helm. You have fucking 400 extra HP, which is fucking crazy. Smolder got turbo nerfed, probably like C tier now. He got nerfed 2 times in a row. They nerfed Deathfire Touch, and they completely nerfed his like tank build and made him have to build crit. But he just can't build anything to win lane anymore. He can't cheat lane like before with Deathfire Touch. They nerfed his Q damage, his W damage, his Q scaling, his passive scaling, everything. They just fucking took him out back, shot him in the head. Fuck that champ. You guys could abuse it for 10 pilo for 2 patches. Now it's gone. You need to wait for another year until they buff some random fucking item interaction and he becomes OP again. Don't blame me, blame Riot for not knowing how to balance their game. But yeah, Smolder is fucking trash. Kog'Maw. I would actually put him A tier. I recently invented a Doran's Helm Kog'Maw build with Jack of all trades, but you don't really need to go Jack of all trades. You can. He has a pretty high Doran's Helm win rate. Obviously the pre-crit is pretty low, but he stat checks every AD carry early, so you can go Legend Alacrity and Doran's Helm essentially like Zeri. And then if you go Jack of all trades, you can get 10 stacks. If you build like a Fairy Charm or a Glowing Moat, you go Gwynsaw into Navori or Runans into Fairy Charm or Glowing Moat, you get 10 stacks. You can also build Frozen Heart on him, really underrated. And you just stat check champs. Essentially they have the same like starting item and stuff and the rune setups. He can also play Resolve. He can also build like AP on hit with Dusk and Dawn or like Shiv Rush into Dusk and Dawn. I think even a Gwynsaw Dusk and Dawn build could potentially work. He can play AP poke. He just has a lot of variety. And the Doran's Helm build is better with like melee supports which are meta. Then the next one is MF. As I said, she has a shit ton of variety. Just like Kog'Maw, she can build Lethality, she can build Hex Optics, she can build Collector, she can build BT Rush. She's super fast on the map. She wins lane into most things. With Doran's Bow, you can insta-do like Auto-Q Auto, which procs PTA, insane laning pattern she couldn't do before, kinda same as Lucian. But she doesn't really care about being squishier because she goes BT in most cases. So I think really underrated champ, kinda always solid in solo queue, especially good in low elo I would say, so I would really actually suggest you to play it and let me know how it goes with Doran's Bow. The next one, Jhin, I would put like B tier. I think you don't really 1v9 games, but you always are useful. Probably the build is like Storm Razor into IE into LDR. Some people go like PD. I don't think it's a second item. I would just go Storm Razor, IE, LDR. I think it's hard to completely 1v9 games on this champ, but it does have a lot of utility. But I just feel like Senna and Ashe have infinitely more utility right now. Ashe just out-damages him as well. So I wouldn't say he's great, but I also wouldn't say he's trash. Samira, maybe low B. I don't think she's insane. There is more melee champs now, but she just needs a lot of setup from her team. And they also nerfed the like Omnivamp boots, which were kind of OP on her, which kind of makes her snowball worse. So I would either put her like high C or low B. Just feel like maybe even high C. Just feel like she needs too much setup for what she brings. Varus. I would put him low B, but next patch they're taking a fucking shotgun and blowing his brains out. They're nerfing his W on hit damage by 4, nerfing his passive, nerfing his Q damage by 40. He's getting completely shot back next patch. He's gonna be fucking what's the word? X tier, bro. Just don't fucking play it. He's gonna be fucking awful. So by the time this video is out, you will only have like 5 days of playing him. Just don't fucking play it. He's being abused by top laners. Let Riot fucking handle him. He needs to get nerfed into the ground and then, you know, rebuffed. Karthus, I would probably still put Z tier just because he fixes a lot of like team comps. Ezreal, I would put C tier. I think he just loses to all of the Kree champs. He gets outscaled. I feel like you need a lot of effort to carry games on him compared to every other champion. Nara, I will put B tier. He's just a worse Zeri, but it can work in some team comps where she can hit a lot. Draven, I would say if you're really good at him, it's like A tier. You're obviously really OP with melee supports. You can play Doran's Bowl super aggressive. You can really stomp lane if you're proficient on him. So I would say if you're good on him, is A tier. Zyra, I would put like A tier. She's really strong as a mage. She's very similar to Brand, I would say. Like, you will always be useful and you always deal damage, but I just feel like it, especially in lower elo, it's probably hard to like completely 1v9 games and people will think you're trolling. And then Caitlyn, A tier. Nothing really much changed from before. Just there's a little bit less range supports, like less karmas and stuff. So a lot of the matchups you play are a bit more like fighty, which you can struggle with. But there's a guy like Metro Archer playing Halo Blades, which kind of end starts E in a lot of matchups, which takes people by surprise. There is a tier I forgot to put. If anybody has watched my stream, they've seen me pick Malphite bot lane and completely stomp every AD carry, and the only reason I lose is because the enemy picks Sylas or my team tilts. I genuinely think champions like this are like viable bot lane. I think they're just extremely unexplored and people think you're trolling, but in games where you feel like you have no frontline, you can easily pick champs like Sion or Malphite. If you have a Senna support, you just lock in Sion. You can lock in Malphite with Malignance into tank after. I promise you it works. I promise you it's fucking viable. I'm not lying. Like, people think I'm crazy. I'm not lying. That's probably most of the tier list. I'll make a follow-up one next patch. Let me know what you think and much love.